Happy Sunday, everybody. Welcome back to Horn Takes. I am Sean Redfern. Joining me this Sunday morning, once again from the cheap seats, is Michelle. Michelle, welcome to the show. How we doing this morning?
I am in mourning, so I am wearing black.
There you go.
Rough night.
That's right. We'll talk all about it. For the rest of the show, we'll do our 10 thoughts, but we're going to start off kind of going back to Wednesday's show where we talked about our predictions, keys to the game, kind of go back and do a little quick scorecard of how we did there and how the team did on the keys. But before we do that, just a little piece of get this out of the way. We got ChinookSeedery.com. They got the greatest seeds ever, eight great flavors. Again, best seed ever. Go over to ChinookSeedery.com. Use our promo code HORNTAKES. Get 10% off your order. I love them things. Go get a bunch of them and just chew your sorrows away on this Sunday morning. That might be the only thing you can do to get yourself right. Is we're gonna probably have a pretty negative show today. I don't think there's a whole lot of positive stuff to talk about from that game yesterday. But I want everybody to know as we talk about negative things, at least for myself, I won't speak for Michelle. That's just what happened. Like, I'm not going to try to be overly negative. I'll never try to be overly positive. I just like to talk about what I feel like I saw during the game. And that's what we'll do here today. So enjoy that. Keep that in mind. All right, let's get into it. And by the way, folks, if you jump on and watch, jump in the chat. We'd love to hear your questions, comments. Get in here and vent. That's what this is for. Join us. Let's all be in sorrow together. Mm-hmm. All right, Michelle, let's go back to our predictions. I believe you gave a 24-10 prediction.
Yes, I predicted 24-10. Obviously, we were just below what I thought, but clearly they had their way with our defense, and I did not anticipate that. I anticipated a lot of things that could go wrong for us. That was not what I thought would happen.
I don't think a lot of people probably thought that would happen. And we kind of talked a little bit in jest about some of the predictions we were seeing all over the internet, all over Twitter. Just a lot of Texas 38-10, Texas 40-17. Just a lot of really wild, to me, kind of offensive predictions for this Texas team. I had Texas winning 20-13. I said when I started talking about my prediction, some games are so obvious that they just aren't obvious. Mm-hmm. And I thought we were going to be kind of staring down the barrel at a team that had their backs to the wall. And when you're playing those types of games, you got to be ready to play. And mm-hmm. Texas just absolutely showed up clearly not ready to play, which we've talked about that on the show before. And it's just this theme we see over and over and over again with these Steve Sarkisian Texas teams. It doesn't matter who they're playing. They're just really slow to get started generally. But I picked 20-13. I think we were both really close on our Texas score prediction. And obviously we way underestimated what we thought Florida would be able to do offensively. I believe the final score was 29-21.
Yep.
Is that right? Yeah, that's right. We had a chance late to maybe score and get a 2-point conversion to tie that thing up. So yeah, there was our predictions. We'll take the L on those because we have to.
Literally. Mm-hmm.
Keys to the game, Michelle. Start with your keys to the game, and we'll just kind of talk a little bit about where we fell short.
So my 3 keys, we didn't execute on any of them, and it's honestly a miracle the game was as close as it was because, I mean, it was an ass beating. Like, I don't know if I'm allowed to cuss on this show, but
Absolutely you are.
It was not even close. So my 3 keys were, number 1, fast start. We did not do that at all. It was the total opposite. Number 2 was no penalties, no turnovers. We had penalties for days. We had a few turnovers. And then the third one was our stars needed to show up. And honestly, they didn't. I mean, I really think Arch Manning did, I think, the best he could given the situation. So I was honestly really proud of how hard he fought. But I mean, everybody else, it was really just disheartening seeing the effort. And I kind of blame that on coaching. They just weren't put into position to succeed, clearly, you know. So yeah, they failed all three of my keys. I kind of joked after the game, like, maybe they should have watched my video because I was telling them what they needed to do and they didn't do any of it. So yeah, it just, oof, man, it was a tough watch.
It was a tough watch. It's a very frustrating game. I had 4 keys. I said prevent big plays because I felt like Florida would kind of, and you alluded to it too on Wednesday. They're going to throw the kitchen sink at Texas. They can't afford not to. And we did not stop big plays. And I count, like, they converted 4 third downs on the first drive of the game. And to me, those are big plays. If you're the third down defense that Texas is up into this point of the season and you can't get off the field on third down, and they weren't incredibly long third downs, but they were also not gimme third downs.
Right.
And then you look at the long play Lagway had down the field. That was a big play. We just didn't stop big plays whatsoever in this game. I think I had a little more in mind on the big play side. Like, I really felt like Florida was gonna, no matter what we did, they were gonna try to push the ball down the field more than they did, but they didn't have to. We were clearly scared of that. It looked like, just by alignment and those types of things. So, yeah. So we failed that one. Established the run. We absolutely did not do that whatsoever. I think part of that was just, again, I think Coach Sark, if it's not popping early, he's away from it. Then I think you look at it and go, well, they were down pretty big, pretty quickly. So you kind of got to pass your way back into it. That's one way to think about it. I don't necessarily 100% agree with that. But the other part of it, and this is the part that it doesn't matter what they called, the offensive line just got its ass kicked, as you mentioned earlier. So yeah, they could not get anything going in the run game. I said protect the football. And I was talking more about weather. Turns out the weather, I don't think, really affected the game whatsoever. Turns out their drainage system is A+, like we thought it might be. And yeah, the field didn't get sloppy at all. So and I don't think any of the turnovers in this game had anything to do with wet. So kudos to both teams, and maybe kudos to that Florida groundskeeping crew as well. They just kicked our ass all over the place this weekend. So we had some turnovers, and I don't hate the turnovers we did have, because I just felt like they came at a time in the game where we're just pressing. Like, we have to press because we got to score. Yeah. So I mean, we failed that one, but we took the ball away. I'll give that one like a push, I think. And then I said eye on Lagway because I thought he might be an X factor with his legs. Turns out he couldn't even walk for most of the game. People had to help him up every time he was on the ground, which wasn't that often. So he was kind of a non-factor. So that one, I think he tweaked something very early in the game, and was just, I think it was on their second drive maybe, and then just kind of there's just no threat. He couldn't move around in the pocket. He just wasn't going to do that. So yeah, keys to the game. We talked about them on Wednesday, and as we've covered here, they just completely fell flat and did not do any of those things. Let's jump over to the comments real quick and see what we got. Yeah, here's an interesting one. Lots of people wanting to free Matt Caldwell. They may get what they want, because if Arch keeps getting hit, Caldwell will be playing. Yeah, Arch got beat up pretty bad in this game.
The heck up.
I mean, if there was any positive thing about this game, which I think you can always go and say, they did this okay, and I thought, despite the fact that he was just getting killed, Arch kind of hung in there and took some shots, man. That kid is tough. You never want to see your quarterback have to prove that, but I think Arch proved yesterday that he's willing to keep his eyes down the field and try to get the ball delivered. He didn't always do it. That's a whole other conversation.
Right.
So yeah. Caldwell throws that one pass and everybody's like, why is he not playing?
Oh, I know. It's crazy. I want to give a huge credit to both of the quarterbacks for these teams. I feel like Arch was in an impossible situation and he battled the whole game. And Lagway, again, like you said, he clearly was injured, but I mean, he played with a lot of heart. And that, that whole Florida team, honestly, they said this is a must have it. We're putting it all on the line. And what's so funny is this was actually a must have it game for Texas too, but you would not have known that based off of their urgency when they got there.
Yeah.
It wasn't until like maybe the third quarter hit that it was like, oh crap, if we lose this game, like our season could be done because we like that would be our last mulligan. They proved last year they're not going to take 9-3 teams. And if we couldn't beat this Florida team based off of the injuries that they have, it's like, how the heck are we going to beat, Georgia or Oklahoma or, Mississippi State? Like Kentucky's not a gimme. There is no gimme on our schedule left. None. And so I think we didn't see that urgency of this is actually a must-win game until way too late. And at that point, like you said, we're having to press. And so we turn it over just because we're having to force things. Penalties caused huge third and longs. So yeah, like this, to me, the people who are blaming Arch are just not really watching and seeing what's happening. It's like, what quarterback would have been successful? Would Vince Young even have been successful? There was zero running game. Vince Young had Jamal Charles. You know what I mean? He had some great backs. There is zero help and support right now for our quarterback. So I don't know. It's baffling.
Yeah, 100%. So let's jump into 10 thoughts. I know we've already given a lot of thoughts, but we'll start and we'll get number one from you, Michelle. What's your number one thought from this bitter loss to the Florida Gators yesterday?
Number one, gosh, I just don't think our team was put into a good position. I am happy that they put Nick Brooks out there, but at the same time, really was not fair to him because he was put in at left guard, which I think he's supposed to be a tackle. He was put in in the second quarter, and he's a freshman. It's like, if you were wanting to make a change at the offensive line, you should have done that during the lead up to the game and started him there, because he was just kind of thrown in. And I mean, that's just not setting him or anyone on the line up for success. So I just think, what's the answer for the offensive line? We've said it every single game this year. We were all pleasantly surprised for Ohio State, but I think that's turning out to be an outlier. In every other game since, it's been like, oof, what are we going to do here? What are we going to do here? And I mean, that to me is like the biggest red flag. It was a red flag going into the season since we lost 5 starters. To the NFL and graduating last year. I don't even have an answer for it. But that is just, to me, number one takeaway is like, it's a problem, a huge problem.
Yeah. Talking about Brooks, I'm sure he did work at left guard during the practices. But yeah, I don't so much hate that as much as I just don't understand it. Like what? I mean, we talked about Neto U earlier in the season about how well he was doing, especially in the run game. And he just hasn't even played the last 2 weeks. I mean, maybe he's hurt and we don't know about it. Maybe he didn't travel. I don't know. You can only take 75 on the road in the SEC. So, that's clearly a disadvantage that, you don't, if you're a team like Texas, you've played 89 people so far this season. And you can only take, you have to take 14 less than that. You're obviously going to be shorthanded with what you can do, but everybody has to deal with that. It's not really an excuse. My number one thought was this was absolutely unequivocally the worst loss of the Sark era at Texas. This was a 1-3 Florida team that could not run the ball whatsoever coming into this game. The quarterback couldn't even walk after the first quarter of this game. You're coming off a bye week. You've had 3 top 5 recruiting classes in a row. This is a talented roster, and they just absolutely got their shit kicked in the entire game. I mean, it looked like a high school varsity team beating up on a JV team in practice for the playoffs or something. I mean, it was just not. You said it. There was no effort. There was no urgency. It just looked like they were out there and they just expected that they were going to win because they were there. And to me, that's 100% on the coaching staff. That's their job. get the guys ready to play. And then players got to play, and they got to play with effort, and they got to do all those things too. But I think that starts at the top. Most things start at the top and trickle their way down. And we just did not see that. So there's our first two takes. Join us in the chat. There's already been a lot of comments in the chat. We sure appreciate you guys jumping in, and we'll try to highlight some of these as we go along. Michelle, number 2 thought. What do you got?
Number 2 thought, the defense. I cannot believe that a huge reason we lost this game was because of our defense. It almost is as if, because we knew Dallas Wilson was going to be coming back for Florida, it felt like they just underestimated him and what that would do to unlock the passing game for Florida. Because, I mean, he was torching us. He looked amazing. And it opened my eyes to the fact that, okay, that's a 5-star freshman receiver, I believe. Where are our 5-star freshman receivers? Why are we the only school that's having to, they need to get acquainted with the system? Like, he was plug and play, and that dude was making our defense that we have been saying is the backbone of our team. It made us look, like he said, like JV. Yeah. And I couldn't believe that. It was crazy. It's a credit to him. What a great player. But really disheartening. Just, the first play of the game, I knew we were in trouble because Michael Taft, one of our best players, could have picked up a fumble on the first play of the game, and he just missed the ball. And so Florida recovered. And then, of course, they went and, just drove the field and scored that first drive. It was just so uncharacteristic. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, on that fumble play, I don't think he saw the ball. He was coming from behind, like the receiver was on the ground in front of him as he was making his, pursuit. And I think he just didn't see the ball until too late because he just ran right past it.
I know. I was like, grab the ball. Oh my God.
Yeah. That was that's one of those things where you just kind of go, ugh, like this could be a rough day if things are going to go like this. The defense, I'll talk about it here in a little bit, but the defense, it just didn't live up to what they have done so far this year whatsoever. It was rough. My number 2 thought is the Texas offensive line is an absolute disaster right now. They cannot run the ball. They cannot protect. We talked about it on Wednesday. This Florida team, not a big sack team, not a big quarterback pressure team. They have not been able to do that very much this season, and they were in Arch's lap on almost every play, pretty much the second the ball got to him. It was really bad, and I'm not trying to beat up on the kids. I think there's a lot of reasons why Texas can't run the ball. I've talked about these things a lot on this show over the course of the last 2 or 3 years, and it's finally come to a head. Like, it's finally come to a head where you haven't gone into the portal. You haven't brought guys in. You said, we're going to homegrown offensive line, which I don't hate necessarily, because I think offensive line is one of those interesting positions, and probably the most and probably the only position in football where you kind of have to be synced up. So when you bring new bodies in, it's not as simple as this guy's just really good. He's got to learn a new system. He's got to build some trust between him and the other guys on the, it's just not exactly the same as almost any other, position group in football. So I don't hate the idea of growing offensive linemen internally and developing and all that stuff. But I think it's clear now that they weren't as far ahead as this coaching staff thought they were. Because I don't think Kyle Flood is stupid. I don't think Steve Sarkisian is stupid. I think they just thought they were better than what they were, and so they chose not to get into the portal.
Right.
The other thing we talk about is just I don't think that. And you know what? I'll save that one for next. What's your 3rd thought?
So going off of what you were talking about, if they thought they had better than what they had, I think our self-scouting department, it needs an overhaul. We need fresh eyes on the team because we had the same opportunity as everybody else to bring in some of these guys. And I see so many of these portal players. I mean, there was an offensive lineman, I think he was from USC, and he ended up going to Oregon. Texas had brought him in for a visit. And in hindsight, I mean, we should have done whatever it took to get him because he's been lights out for Oregon. So I totally agree with you in that you need them to sync up, but some guys are just so good that they are truly plug and play. He was a plug and play type of guy. And the fact that we didn't realize just how critical that was based off what we had in the room tells me like red flag, red flag. Same with the running back room. I love all of our backs, but there's clearly something not working. And I think just because of the injury history with Baxter and with Clark coming back from an Achilles injury, it should have been, let's get some depth there. But I don't even think they brought a running back in for a visit during the portal season. So it's like self-scouting needs some work because all of these other teams that brought in receivers or other pieces from the portal were huge contributions. And Emmett Mosley, we finally saw him. He looks great. And that was a portal acquisition. And so I'm like, why didn't we do that in more position groups? Because I think it's almost like we got a little bit too, well, we do it better than everyone else, so we don't trust outsiders. But it's like, wait, the portal has been huge for us.
Yeah.
Our past season success. So, I hope that there are people who are going to make some hiring decisions in order to help our self-scouting department. Because I get it. It's hard. You want to give the benefit of the doubt to your team. But at the same time, I mean, it's killed us this year. Killed us.
Yeah, the portal's interesting because you only get a shot at so many. You can't bring them all in.
Right.
And now with these NIL and all that, people are slinging money at it. It's an interesting dynamic that obviously, these coaches haven't. I don't think they've quite figured it out. And I'm not just talking about ours. I'm talking about everybody.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a balance there, right? You don't want to bring guys in and say we're going to develop you, and then bring in a bunch of people every year in the portal to just slide them right into positions, right? But then you don't want to leave it on the field either. You want to bring in the guys that can help you win, right? So there's definitely a balance there. I was kind of shocked about no running backs as well. That was one of the questions I asked on the very first episode after the end of the season. Was are we going to bring in some running backs? Is that an option? And I can't remember if I had CJ Vogel or if I had Eric Henry on the show when we were talking about that, but they both said they didn't think Texas was going to. And I thought that was kind of strange.
Yeah.
When you looked at just not the talent that's back there, but the fact that two of them, you don't know if they're going to be back for the start of the season because they are both coming off a pretty serious injury. Right. So yeah, I'm not going to beat them up about the portal, but I will say, I think not trying to bring in some offensive linemen in that last portal class is showing up today as a big problem for this Texas team. Right. Sarah says, I feel bad for Arch. Yeah. Yesterday I 100% felt bad for Arch. He was getting beat up and he had no help in the running game whatsoever. So yeah, that was rough. But again, you got to give him credit, and you got to, and I like what you said, Michelle. You got to give credit to both those quarterbacks because they were both. I mean, Lagway wasn't getting beat up so much, but he was just taking what we gave him, and he couldn't even move.
Right, he hung in there.
Yeah, I mean he hung in through. He looked like he was in a lot of pain. Yeah. I think my next thought is Sark needs to hire an offensive coordinator. I know I've brought this up a few times as like a question, and I think I said maybe earlier a couple weeks ago, I think it might be time. I 100% believe it's time. I think there's too many cooks in that offensive kitchen because I think you've got Kyle Flood, who is quote unquote the offensive coordinator, and I'm almost positive that he is the run game coordinator. And I don't know, like we have no commitment to the running game. And what I mean by that is I'm not talking about just handing it off in the games.
Right.
I'm talking about like getting some offensive linemen in here. I'm talking about like finding an identity in the running game at all. We watched this team 2 weekends ago. And again, it's Sam Houston State, but we saw a lot of power running schemes and they were able to open up big holes. I have not rewatched the game, and I'm sure they ran some counter plays that I didn't see or just it's not in my head remembering it, but it was a lot of zone stuff. and they ate our lunch. And teams will continue to eat our lunch if we keep trying to do that. So you go out and you recruit all these big dudes, big humans, and hey, I love it. I don't hate the idea at all, but you're not letting them be big humans. You're asking them to be, the lighter offensive linemen that have to be quick and move laterally and see things quick. Like these aren't those dudes. These are the big dudes. Let them be big and push people around. We're just not doing it. I think Sark is making bad in-game decisions because of this. Like we had him in a 3rd and long with like a minute and a half left in the second quarter yesterday, and he took a penalty.
Yeah.
Why? You gave them an extra down. They're probably not going to get it. And maybe you picked up 10 extra yards in field position by doing that. But just take the ball. You need the ball. There's a minute and a half left. Take the ball. I can't prove that that's because he's got too much in his head. But I know he's got too much in his head. I don't know how any head coach can call one side of the ball and still be efficient as a head coach.
I agree.
So to me, I think it's time. And I'm not trying to hate on Sark. I'm not trying to say he's not this or not that. But if he wants to be serious about being a head coach, I think he's going to have to reflect on this at some point and say, you know what? I need some help here. Like I need, and maybe he grooms him and grows him over the next year or two. But I think there's got to be a plan for that because I just think it's too much going on, and it's not in sync. Like he's all about the passing game. He's got Kyle Flood over here, doing the running game, but they don't sync up.
No, and I feel like in his mind, he thinks if he gives up the play calling, that means he's not part of the game plan. No, like it's your offensive scheme. And you and whoever you hire to help, y'all cook it up during the week. And then during the game, that individual who hopefully would be like in the press box, who has like big level view of like, okay, this is what they're doing in coverage. And then that person can be the one calling. Of course, Sark would always have, override of like, if he doesn't like a play call, you know what I mean? He could get in the headset. Yeah. So I just feel like he's viewing it as like, no, but the offense is my baby, so I have to control it. But it's like, it really helped Ohio State so much giving up the play calling. And
they won a national championship. Yeah, they brought in one of the best offensive play callers in college football, and they won a national championship.
Right. And Ryan Day, his fingerprints are still all over that offense, right? And he's still a huge part of them cooking up the game plan and everything. So to me, I just don't, it's like a stubborn thing at this point or a pride thing. I don't really know. Because honestly, I feel like the college football head coaches have way more on their plate than the NFL head coaches. So in the NFL, it makes sense if you are a play calling head coach. In college, it's just too much. You have to give up somewhere. Like I think Sark has number one say over everything. And honestly, we need more scouts. We need more help in the GM department. We need more help in game, helping him call plays. Like, and that's not a bad thing. Like Sark is a great coach, but it's come to a point where he's clearly, his eyes, it's impossible for them to be everywhere. And he's missing things. And he's missing, like you said, the run game. They're just so out of sync. Who knew we even had a run game coordinator? We only got 15 running yards, not that word from, the quarterback. So it's like, I just don't, it really is like, that's the next step. You have to just, I hope he just comes to a place where he just surrenders to like, I need more support. And I think that would be a huge growing point for him. And I think it would pay dividends. I don't know who we would hire, but again, like you said, Ohio State went and picked the, best person they could. I have no doubt that Texas and CDC would be able to help do that too.
Oh, sure.
I mean, for me, I'm like, if the Miami Dolphin season continues to go down, maybe we can get Mike McDaniel to come for a year. I feel like that'd be a perfect fit. They both were in the Shanahan, family tree at one point coaching. But it's just like you said, it's so much going on for those coaches. I'm surprised he's made it this long,
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I think it boils down to you can only do so much. Like all of us can
Mhm.
only do so much. We can only take on so many things, and I think you kind of said it. He's at that point. Like there's too much for him.
Right.
And I think you're right. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a pride thing or just I feel the need to control this, but he's
Mhm.
definitely he's got that. He's like squeezing it so hard he's killing it,
Right.
type of deal. So
Right.
yeah. All right, Michelle. What's your number 4 thought?
Oh man, just the run game. Like there's really nothing left to say about it, but I mean, I couldn't believe it was a real box score that we only got 15 yards. We didn't see a lot of our running backs, and I think you kind of already touched on this too, so I won't go on much longer about it, but just that we went away from it, and then at that point they know, oh, okay, well, just keep crushing the quarterback because they're not even going to try to run it on us, and if they do, they'll get negative yards.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe 15 yards. We didn't see any Gibson, or maybe a couple times, but didn't show up on the stat sheet.
Right.
Didn't see Simon. Like it.
Yeah. And the crazy thing about the run game is Florida plays cover 2. So that
Mhm.
means their safeties are way back off the ball.
Yeah.
They did all that with 7 guys in the box, 6 guys in the box. I mean, they completely stuffed us at the line of scrimmage, across the entire line of scrimmage.
Yep.
When we tried to run it. I mean, again, we've talked about it so much, there's no need to belabor it anymore.
I know, but it's so
but
bad.
yeah, it was so bad. And it shouldn't have been that hard. That's the thing. I mean, we're going to play some teams that are not going to play 2 deep coverage. They're going to bring people up to the line of scrimmage.
Right.
And then that's where it's really dangerous. Like we didn't even have to, like, I don't want this to sound like terrible, but there was not much to think about for Texas offense when they would go to the line of scrimmage. If there was a guy that usually ain't there, he was coming.
Right.
That's what Florida does.
Yeah.
If he's not on the line, he's playing 2 deep. He's back. He's deep. You shouldn't have to account for him in the running game. Is the point I'm trying to make. And
Right.
man, they didn't even have to make tackles. They didn't have to fill any alleys. There was just nothing there. So rough outing, especially when we talk about the running game. You already touched on this, Michelle, but my number 4 is, hey, we've got 7 games left. We're sitting at 3-2. Who are the automatic 4 wins left on this schedule to keep this team from being a 500 team after 2 straight semifinals in the college football playoff? I mean, I look at the schedule. I don't see any games on there that make me go, oh yeah, we got that one. And there certainly ain't 4 of them.
Right.
I mean, we could be looking at a 5. Like, it is not out of the realm of possibility unless some things flip on their head. And the team is talented. The coaching staff is talented. Like, I don't think the season's lost, but they're going to have to change a lot of stuff.
A lot.
To go win some of these games. So that's a huge. I was sitting there yesterday after the game, and I was just like, who are we gonna, like, playoffs? I think are just, and maybe I'm wrong. Playoffs. Like,
You're talking about the playoffs?
Yeah. I don't think playoffs is a word that should come out of any Texas fan's mouth. Probably the rest of this year, unless we actually make the playoffs, and then I'll take my L on that too. I'll be happy to, but yeah, I'm just worried about not getting completely embarrassed the rest of the season at this point.
Right. It almost looks, I didn't watch that much of the night games, but from what I did, it almost looks like they're playing a completely different sport than us. There's no easy button for Texas, which would kind of be my next point. There just is there's no gimme play. There's nothing we can lean on. I thought our easy button was the defense. Clearly there's some problems there. Manny Muhammad, who we talked about how last season everybody wanted him gone. He was the only missing piece on defense. And God, we got torched.
Yeah.
So it's like, thank God we've got Manny, who will hopefully be back for next week. But at the same time, I mean,
yeah, I wrote that down. At some point, I don't remember exactly what point it was during the game, but I wrote down, Manny Muhammad was a big loss for today. He was a big scratch for this defense, clearly, because you talked about it. I never thought about it the way you said it a couple of weeks ago. We haven't heard Manny Muhammad's name at all this season, and that's great for a cornerback.
Right.
And you could tell a difference immediately as that game started, that we missed Manny Muhammad.
Yep.
And I'm not saying he's like an all SEC guy or anything like that, but certainly we had to throw some young guys in there and some guys with inexperience, and it wasn't great.
Nope, not good.
Yeah, I think my number 5 is the PK defense. And this is just more about, not necessarily about yesterday, but just in general. PK has always been a guy that just does what he does, right? Like he's very, you're not going to see a lot of variation out of PK. He plays the safeties back. He'll change coverages and things like that, but there's not going to be a lot of pressure. There's not going to be a lot of, he's going to do it with 4 guys is what he's typically trying to do. And you're not going to see him overload to bring pressure. You'll see him bring guys up to the line of scrimmage. We saw it a few times yesterday where they'd bring multiple, 5, 6 guys up to the line of scrimmage, but 2 of them are always backing out at the snap. And that's just his deal. I kind of feel like you got to be a little more multiple than that because you're not confusing anybody. It's great when you have 11 guys that are all on the same page. Half of them are all SEC guys. They all get drafted. They're all doing big things in the NFL right now. It's great when you have that. Yeah. But if you don't have that, and like you said, your stars aren't being stars, which clearly yesterday they weren't. I thought Colin Simmons had a couple of really good run fit plays. But other than that, just not a ton of pressure by anybody. So it ain't just Colin Simmons. Like nobody's getting any pressure on the quarterback yesterday. It reminded me a ton of Sark's first year here when we just didn't have a lot of talent at defensive end. Yeah. They just would engage the tackle and stop because they didn't know, they couldn't do anything else. And that's what yesterday, I saw it multiple times. Right. And again, I'm not picking on Simmons, but he's one I watch because he's the star. He makes contact with the left tackle and his feet just stop. And then he starts doing this. He starts trying to figure out how to try to get around. No, dude, you're fast. Run around him. Yeah. Make Lagway do something. And that's my other point about yesterday. They didn't make him move. They didn't make him uncomfortable. They played coverage off. So all he had to do was just take the snap and throw it out there. He had so many completions yesterday where there was nobody to contest the throw. And that's not a talent problem. That's a where I'm aligned problem. You watched Texas yesterday. Their cornerbacks are 9 yards deep on almost every play. It's too easy. Yeah. They did nothing to make it hard on Lagway or those receivers. And that's, again, that's PK's deal. That's what he likes to keep stuff in front of him. And I get the philosophy. If we can make them go down the field in 10, 15 plays, they're going to make a mistake. I think that there's logic to that. I get that. Right. That didn't happen yesterday, though. They went down the field and they scored on you, and then they start beating you deep. Yeah. So yeah, it's I think to me it's like almost just, you were talking a little bit about Sark and the offense, the pride thing, or like I just feel like PK has a lot of tools. He needs to. I want to see them be more multiple and confuse somebody. And he's done it before. I'm not like, don't get me wrong. One thing I question though is why against Sam Houston State do we throw all these blitzes at Sam Houston State in a 55-0 blowout? Right. And we didn't see any of that against Florida. Yeah. And clearly that's a game where you want to do that. Lagway can't move. Yeah. Lagway is not a great quarterback. He's not making a lot of throws against contested wide receivers. And he didn't have to. And he was too comfortable. And what's crazy is we all knew he was in a walking boot. Like they should have been thinking, we need to make this guy's life hell instead of just this conservative, we'll just, make them drive the field. I mean, it blew my mind. And I don't know. It's almost like the coaches didn't read the room of like, this game is must win for us too. We need to throw the kitchen sink at this game too. Yeah. It's like they thought, I don't know.
We'll just go in, they haven't been that good. We're just going to go in, do our thing and get out. instead of realizing like this game is really important. Like there was I've already touched on this. There was so much urgency on the Florida sideline. Like their guys, they were like, we are going to do whatever it takes to win.
Yeah.
And there just wasn't that on the Texas side. Like they just didn't realize like, oh, we could lose this game, you know? Yeah. And I hope now going forward, they have that every single week because they're
going to have to
any of these games.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, if they want to,
Arkansas is a gimme. Like we could lose to anyone.
Yeah, no, 100%. If we play like that, the rest of the games, we'll be lucky to win a lot of them.
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah.
They've got to figure out protection of Arch. They've got to figure out some way to run the football. Arch is a talented kid. There's some talented wide receivers, but he can't do it by himself. Like they've got to help him some. And I feel like that's, we saw Steve Sarkisian do the same thing with Quinn Ewers, just heaped a lot on him. Yeah. And oddly enough, those were times when we could run the ball and we just didn't. Right. We just can't do it. Steve Sarkisian could not go, hey, we need to run the ball this drive. I mean, even if he could get himself to that point mentally, they can't do it. It would be 3 and out, and they probably wouldn't pick up a yard at this point. So, the other thing I noticed, talking about a sense of urgency, I wrote this down right when they came out for second half and we got the ball. Mm-hmm. Did you see the team go out onto the field? The body language was terrible.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, hey, I'm ready to go play football. It was almost like, oh, I got to go out here and play football.
Yeah.
I thought that was strange, and I might be reading too much into that. I know everybody's different, but I thought it was really odd to see the whole team be like that. Just they just walked out and just kind of like, all right, we're here. I would have expected them to come out at halftime and be ready to get out on the field and like I'm going to beat you to the huddle. That's how ready I am. So I, there was just a lot of stuff yesterday, and I, coming off of a bye week, it's just really concerning to see that's how the team was mentally. That's how they were emotionally, and just really see them just get physically. I mean, they got whipped. There's no other way to say it.
Yeah, in all phases too.
Yeah. I mean, man, the punter dropped some really nice ones inside the 5-yard line that we could not stop from going into the end zone. We give up a blocked punt. We don't try to kick any field goals that I'm aware of. They went out and got this kid that's got a big leg, and
and he's been good. When he's been called on, he's been great. Again, another portal acquisition, punter, another portal acquisition. It's like these guys that we are getting are making plays for us. And so again, it just makes me scratch my head. What did Devin say? We're lacking an identity right now. Yep. Nothing is going. And we don't have that urgency at all. Yep. It's so concerning. Like, what? Come on. This was our season. Like we wanted to set ourselves up for next week. And now it's really the season. Like,
oh yeah. It's like,
really.
This team better play with their hair on fire the rest of the season. And maybe they will. And I hope they do, because again, I still think as ugly as that was yesterday, this is still a real talented team. And
I know
they had a chance to come back and win that game yesterday, despite every single thing we've talked about today. So there's clearly talent on the team. There's clearly talent in the coaching ranks of this team. There just something is off, and I don't know what it is, but I hope they can figure it out and get it fixed. And let's talk about that. We're headed into Red River Shootout week. Texas, I saw this morning, opens as a 2.5-point favorite against number 5 Oklahoma. And there are questions about who the quarterback is going to be. And Texas will certainly not be Kent State. We can all throw that out on the table, and I think everybody will agree with that. But
maybe.
Man,
maybe.
I wouldn't be surprised if Texas is out of the top 25 this afternoon. Like, it would not shock me a single bit. So you got a 2.5-point favorite in the Red River, and I get it's a rivalry. I mean, the craziest shit happens in this game a lot, especially in these types of games where you got a team reeling and you've got another team that's like just kicking ass. Uh, a lot of times it doesn't go the way you think. It's one of those obvious ones that isn't obvious.
Yeah.
But what's your thoughts as we head into Red River this weekend?
So 2 weeks ago, the line was at like 10.5. And at that point, I was advising my colleagues, take OU, because like that's just a huge spread.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, even at us -2.5, I'm like, do I still want advise people to take OU? Like, I don't bet on our games because it's just, of course, I always want to bet Texas, even if it's not smart. But I'm thinking, oh my gosh, like, how are we favored in this game? I don't care who their quarterback is supposed to be. Did they watch our defense? What is just so concerning is there has not been a single game outside of Sam Houston State where from beginning to end we looked like a complete football team. So I just don't know how you can favor us in that game, even if OU's backup quarterback is playing. Because I mean, their defense
is really, really good.
They're way better than Florida's defense. Florida's best defensive player is on injured reserve. He's out for the season. And we still couldn't block a fly, So I don't know how we're still favored in this game. I think absolutely we don't deserve to be ranked right now. I'm fine with that because we need to earn it. Like we didn't earn it. We didn't earn any of the praise that we were getting in the offseason. We were the August champions, but then we started playing and it was like, oh wait, never mind, so I'm very concerned for next week, but like you said, Charlie Strong, there was a year he won where it was like, oh, the hell did we win that game, So crazier things have happened in Red River, but I'm shocked that we're still the favorites. And I think you're right that it is just due to the who's going to play quarterback for OU. But I mean, honestly, like we will have our hands full in this game,
Yeah, I think so. It'll be interesting to see. Again, I think so much of it is how the team responds. Mac Brown would lay some stinkers. Like his teams would have some problems, but he was really good at getting them back where they needed to be for the next game. And I there was some kind of, man, until the end for Mac Brown, I don't think he lost 2 games in a row very many times.
Right.
Because he was that guy. He could get the team refocused and re-challenged and whatever all that looks like for that team, he would get them there. It'll be interesting to see if Sark can. And because this team has got to be down right now. This team did not expect that either. They did not, and it's not just about losing the game. It's about the way that game went. They did not. It's kind of like, it's kind of almost like when you're a kid and you for whatever reason you pick a fight with a guy you think you can win against, and he busts you in the face like right at the beginning of it, and you're like, holy crap.
Yeah,
I did not expect that. That is how Texas they probably left that place like, what the hell just happened?
I know. That probably is why the body language that you saw, I don't remember seeing this coming out of halftime, but that's probably why they were just kind of shell-shocked. Like, what happened?
You may be right.
And just couldn't get out of that funk. And I mean,
we'll see. I love Red River. We will be there this weekend. It's always a fun time going to the fair. It's to me, and I have not been to all games, but it is certainly the most unique college football game there is. The way, just the atmosphere around the stadium. It's almost like 2 events wrapped up in one. The fair is always a spectacle that Saturday. And then the game itself is always a spectacle. So we're looking forward to that. We'll eat lots of corny dogs, drink lots of wax cup beers, and all kinds of weird foods. Like, we love it. We'll be down there early. We'll be there Friday to do the fair, and then Saturday is a business trip for us. So we'll see how that goes. But I always enjoy it, win, lose, or draw for that one. But man, I sure would like to see the team get back to what they can be. Because that wasn't it yesterday. I think we all know that. So yeah, we'll talk more about the Red River Shootout on Wednesday. Michelle, please join if you can, and we'll kind of break down. We'll talk about our keys to the game there. We'll have some predictions. We'll preview this Oklahoma team. And again, I think Brent Venables done a really good job of getting that group turned around from when he started there. They were not a good football team.
And a huge thing that OU did in the offseason, they took a ton off of his plate, and it has paid dividends. I'm just saying, CDC, if you're watching, we love Sark, but come on, help him out, please. Make him see he needs help, because every program so far that has done that to kind of alleviate things from the head coach, it's shown in that their teams are prepared in every single phase. I mean,
that's right. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Red River coming up. We'll talk that Wednesday. Check Michelle out on Twitter. She's a good follow. You do some really good videos, by the way, Michelle. I enjoy your videos.
Thank you.
I'm sure there'll be a pretty good one for this one. We didn't have any technical difficulties this time, but I'm sure she'll figure out a way to. Yeah, she'll figure out a way to make a nice little video. Joe K says, thanks, Sean and Michelle. Appreciate you, Joe. Appreciate everybody that commented today. Everybody that's watching us today. We sure do appreciate it. You can check me out at Horn Takes. I'm on Twitter, obviously YouTube. Check us out there. And thanks for watching the show. You guys have a good rest of your Sunday. Don't let yesterday ruin the rest of your weekend, folks. Go have some good time with your family and friends and all that good stuff. Whatever it is you like to do, go enjoy it. Get ready for Monday, because it's Red River week, by God. We gotta get back up on the horse and ride, because it will not be easy on Saturday either. Any last thoughts, Michelle?
No last thoughts. Just I'm saying some prayers for Arch Manning, because I think he might be in hell next week. So
yeah, they're going to get after him. I guarantee you that. All right, folks, thanks for watching. You guys have a good rest of your weekend. Y'all get hooked.
Hook 'em.